Okay, so this is dealing with the transatlantic slave trade and how it isn't possible, it isn't even feasible that these individuals would be carried from Africa all the way across what is it, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. I'm gonna jog my memory up, but yes, the Atlantic Ocean. But before we get on that, I'm gonna mention it again. When you go to school as black people, um, and you go to school and they force you to watch these propaganda films, and all the side comments, people are watching the film, people trying to make fun of you, people probably even asking you if you knew a slave or anything. You just look at these motherfuckers. People, trying to bring you down. People, people making certain side comments, bigoted people in your class or in your school, trying to pick on you for your complexion and things of this nature. You have to understand something. When you remove all your emotions, all your pain, all the guilt, all the embarrassment, all of the sorrow, pain, and the fear, and the sadness and the depression of seeing a person that has your genotype or your phenotype being pretty much destroyed on film, and being told that this is your roots, this is your root of your people, this is where y'all really come from, this is the truth about your people, and it's nothing but the truth, and they will force you to believe the shit. When you remove all those feelings and you look at this story for what it is, you start to see that this transatlantic slave trade, or this slavery narrative that they try to fucking poke into your goddamn brain, is really a goddamn lie. It's bullshit. It's it doesn't even, it's not feasible. It's not possible for it to actually make sense. The transatlantic slave trade and all that. Listen, guys, that shit does not make any sense, and I'm gonna be explaining that to you right now. Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean, and cross over and all the way into the Americas, in the United States of America. It isn't possible, and I'm gonna explain to you why. First, though, I would like you to think of something. If you're coming from Africa all the way to the Americas, that would be within the time span of a 3-month boat ride. if you're gonna be a bunch of slave masters, which are only like what 12 people on a slave ship, according to what you saw in the movie, like Roots, for example. If you were an individual trying to enslave all these people, first off, how did they get on the boats? See, because all these people outnumber you. What 12 European white guys to like hundreds and hundreds of African people on boats? I mean, I don't understand how they didn't show any ammunition. They didn't show any type of like gun, gun force, any ammunition force. They didn't show anything like that on the video. Second, I would like to understand something else. What would drive these people to even listen to a foreign people from foreign lands? Also, another thing, if this is a 2 to 3 month boat ride, to even a 4 month boat ride, in in estimation, due to the fact that they're gonna have to stop along the way. See, there's gonna be a lot of trials and tribulations along the way. For example, they show you these pictures of people lined up on top of each other, and they're all piled up on top of each other, laying down on top of each other on a boat, and it's hundreds of people lined up on top of each other while sleeping on a boat. First of all, what are the three things that every human being needs to be sustained, to be able to sustain his life properly without having any problems with his body or her body. Sustenance, food. Where is the food that they were getting for these slaves? These so-called slaves. What food were they eating? What were they eating? What kind of liquids were they intaking? What kind of foods were they consuming? First of all, if you're gonna do something like this, you're gonna need to have a lot of foods and rations and all kinds of food on the boat prior to getting to Africa, because you're gonna need to enslave these people, and if they're your supposed livestock or your slaves, you're not gonna want to have your the quantity of your product. You're not gonna want the quantity of your product to die off in midway of transition to getting to the United States of America. It doesn't make any logical sense. Why? That's not how a business works. You want to make sure all of your profits, all of your items and your supplies and quantity will make you the most maximum amount of profits, not the minimum. That makes no sense. Then they show you them whipping them. I mean, you're destroying your freaking livestock before you even get to the Americas to do whatever the hell you're gonna do with them to make your profit. That's idiotic. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Then what's another? Like, that was one or two things that I just told you. Next, aren't they supposed to have first aid kits and stuff like that? Oh, why? Because on the video they were whipping them and attacking them, and not just that. Guess what else? I said the 3 to 4 month boat ride, right? What does every human being do after every meal? Not after every meal. After 1 or 2 or 3 meals a day, they have to defecate. They have to take a shit. No, seriously, man. They have to take a shit. So what are you telling me? That they're defecating on each other? You see those freaking pictures of the transatlantic slave trade of a bunch of black Africans laying down on top of one another. And what are you telling me? Because look, let me ask you this. Where are the bathrooms? These are hundreds and hundreds of people on one freaking boat. According to you guys, one big ass, gigantic ass boat. No, seriously, because I fell for the rhetoric as a teen and a mid-teen in middle school and in high school. I fell for the rhetoric, and I had to realize what was going on. Man, I hated this fucking story. Every time I heard about it, it pissed me the fuck off. I'm trying to set the record straight right now. That shit did not happen like that. If they're gonna defecate on each other, eventually after the 3 to 4 month boat ride, that defecation is gonna become poisonous and hazardous to their health. You know, where's the mops and all the brooms and shit? Also, y'all gonna need salt. If y'all gonna they ate fish. Really? If they ate fish, aren't they gonna need to put salt on the fish and stuff like that to keep it preserved and all that? All the vegetables and all the stuff that they got in the 3 to 4 month boat ride, the potatoes are gonna get bad. Plantains are gonna get bad and damaged. They don't have refrigerators over there. They don't have refrigerators there to keep their supplies in storage. Their storage supply is going to be primitive at best. Okay? It's going to be primitive at best. Why? Because of the fact of this. If you don't have a refrigerator, how are you supposed to keep this stuff, all these foods and vegetables and fruits and all this stuff, how are you supposed to keep this stuff from rotting? On a 3 to 4 month boat ride. How the hell are you supposed to do that? No, I'm gonna let y'all answer that. I'll wait. You see how pissed off I'm getting? Because this story doesn't make any goddamn sense. And when you really think about it, also another thing. In the movie, they were whipping and hurting people and all this. There was 12 European white guys. You telling me 100 Africans on a freaking boat ain't gonna look at them and revolt and try to kill them? They're not gonna realize that they got the power in numbers. They scared of 12 white guys with a whip in their hand. Are you fucking serious? Oh, they're in chain. Again, they didn't show how they forced them on those boats. How did they force them on those boats? Then do y'all want to come and say that the transatlantic slave trade, that boat, that big ass boat, where is the boat? Where is the boat? I heard one guy one time say, "Oh, the boat sank." What proof do you have of that? What proof do you have of that? The transatlantic slave, that boat is non-existent. It was a crop in a goddamn movie funded by the Zionist Jews, the Khazarian Zionist Jews, the ones that want Europeans and Negroid people on this planet to start a race war because they want to be in mass control. All this stuff is to cause friction between peoples. They have their plan in motion, guys. Look, let me ask you some more questions. They were getting spices and all this other stuff from other places, like in Hispaniola. They were getting spices and all this stuff. When these people, right? Y'all want to come and say, right? Let me check this stuff out. So what I'm seeing here is they're saying that it was 5 million people, 10 million people, 10 million people on a goddamn boat. Some big ass boats that just went all over the place into the Atlantic Ocean. They went to South America, North America, Europe. They even went past the Indian Ocean. Let me ask you this. When they did all that, right? How did the slaves survive? We've already went through this with the food and the foods consumed. We already went through this. How did that happen? Does anybody want to answer that? They didn't have bathrooms like that. They had their porta potties. They had it in a different way back then. They didn't have toilets back then. Do you understand? Also, all these cuts and marks and all these, all these cuts and marks, they're going to get infections. Where was their first aid kit? What did that look like? Is there any evidence of them having a first aid kit on that boat? They're going to get sick. They don't have any injection. They didn't have injections back then to cure your body. Because they're defecating on each other, aren't they? They're showing you the pictures here, man. I might put the pictures in the freaking video, man, for y'all to see. I'll be talking over the video and on the audio. This is ridiculous, man. This couldn't have happened. This is not possible. This couldn't have, the triangular transatlantic slave trade, man. I'm looking at this shit, and the more I look at it, the more stupid it starts to come out to look like. This isn't possible, man. This is not possible. This is not possible. And the volume of people keeps changing. The numbers are inconsistent. I even have a video up there that's showing you that the numbers, that these articles and all these people and all these motherfuckers talking about this, that, and the third, and all these authors of these articles that's coming out, every time you look up, the number and the volume of slaves changes. Someone's lying. Someone is lying out here because they know. They don't want the African Americans to realize their history of being Moors in Spain, in Europe. They don't want you to know the true history of that place. And I have to get on that at a later time. Look at this, man. And first off, Negroids, okay, if you're going to be attacking them with, first of all, Negroids are far stronger than Europeans. They're far stronger. They're going to dominate y'all. So how the hell did y'all get them on this boat in the first place? Something's off about this, man. Something is seriously fucking off about this, man. Then, okay, because this shit is ridiculous, man. This shit is fucking ridiculous. Okay. Alright, no, don't worry, guys. I'm just taking a look at this stuff. Okay? Then they want to talk to you guys about that y'all were enslaved and shit like that. Let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this. Just because they're saying that y'all was enslaved or something. If y'all was enslaved, right? Right? You so-called black people, right? I already told you y'all Moors. If y'all was enslaved, right? Answer me this. Why is it that You guys forgot all your ancient traditions. You think pink skin albino just came up there and fucked you up and took all your shit? You guys violated something called the 42 Laws of Ma'at. You guys violated the covenant and created other humanoids on this planet that are not archetypes like you. You were told not to do this, but you did it anyways. So the Lord Anunnaki, Anu Elion 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 El, the giant humanoid from Sirius AB, the star constellation Sirius Sun C, or Planet X, or Planet Nemesis, or whatever you want to call it, that being calcified your pineal gland, right? And then y'all fell off, y'all had to get knocked off the throne because you had something freaking wrong with y'all, because y'all was mixing your blood with animals and mixing your DNA with animals to create other so-called races, which is really different levels of melanation, but so-called different races of humanoids on this planet Earth. So what I'm saying is that when you observe how this notion about how we were just simply just, you know, either, you know, beaten, you know, and just shoved on a boat, and I don't know how we were castrated and all this other shit. First of all, you guys forgot everything about yourselves once you guys got calcified and you had that curse placed on you, that black curse placed on you. Okay? Y'all fell from grace, from the fourth dimension into the third dimensional paradigm that we're living in right now. Y'all used to live on a higher dimensional vibrational frequency. And then y'all fell from freaking grace. Thoth and everybody left y'all behind. Osiris and all those individuals, they left y'all behind. Because they didn't violate the covenant, you did that shit. Isis and all them, man. You know, and then what's crazy is this. Once y'all violated the covenant, okay, y'all were when y'all violated the covenant, okay, the individual beings from the fifth dimension had to come in to try to repair shit because y'all damaged shit and things weren't right on this planet at that time. What's funny to me is how these historians and all these people will come and tell you that not only were you a slave, but, okay, not only that, but they're going to show you this propaganda film of people being raped, lynched, burned alive, dogs trying to bite off their toes, being ripped in half, the molestation, all this crazy shit. That when you really observe it, it's going to make people hate each other. These films were made to cause division. And this is why I'm here, to set the record straight. It's not possible. This entire story makes no fucking sense, okay? Alright? And not only that, but this is the thing too. Y'all gonna need so much more shit. Like, for example, let me help you guys out. I'm seriously asking you guys to think. What was the goal of these so-called Europeans that wanted to enslave so-called African people? They wanted to use them to make them profit, make them money. If you start killing them all before you even get to the freaking destination, which is the United States of America, you're gonna lose out on a whole bunch of money that could have been made if you didn't kill them in the first place. Oh, they had a lot. They could always make more. My goodness, do you not understand? This is a 3 to 4 month boat ride. You start whipping them and killing them all off, and y'all don't even have the food. Y'all don't even have the right amount of water. Y'all don't have clean distilled water and all this other stuff. Okay, you're killing off your quantity, the quantity of people that's going to be there to build your empire or your profit. Why would you kill them all? Business doesn't work like that. Anybody who's intelligent understands how business works. If you have a bunch of diamonds, right, and you're gonna go pawn them off to the jewelry department or the jewelry department store or whatever the fuck, that they're gonna be able to give you the amount in liquidation and revenue. You're gonna liquidize the diamonds and get all these profits in dollars in the amount of how much a diamond is actually worth, right? If you even lose one diamond, you're gonna lose your fucking shit because you want to make the maximum amount of profit. Why would you want to make anything less than that? All businessmen understand this simple concept. If you want to liquidize something, you want the maximum profit. Why the fuck would I settle for 500 when I could get 1000? Why would I settle for $50,000 when I could get $1,000,000? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not hard to understand. Shit. Guys, you guys have to understand that this lie was told to completely disenfranchise Negroid or African American or so-called black people, to disenfranchise them from any ownership rights to even land, disenfranchise them from being able to own anything, destroying their image. You see, this was a construct. It was all planned out by the elites in this country to completely disenfranchise them from ownership over lands like Georgia, Florida, Virginia. You know, believe it or not, even Texas. You got so many places out here. The southeastern seaboard, the U.S. You know, you know, There's just so much to this stuff. You guys just do not understand. There was only really very small slave ships that came out of Africa, and they weren't even really slave ships. These were just ships of people that wanted to go from other lands in order to bring Negroid people into America to work for them, doing sharecropping, not slavery. Like the Henrietta Marie, I believe, was one of those small little boats, those canoes, the kind of canoe-looking type of boats that brought Africans from Africa. But here's the thing: African Americans, you guys were never from America. I mean, you guys were never from Africa. Originally, you guys came from places like Batuan, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and a lot of y'all were here in the United States of America. Y'all were here. There's monuments, pyramids, and all kinds of stuff and ancient artifacts that are here in America that you guys know nothing about. Seriously. You guys might want to do your research and search this shit up. Seriously. Also, I believe around Las Vegas, Nevada, and places around like Sin City, they have caverns and caves that they have the lost ancient artifacts of the lost ancient artifacts of the pharaohs of ancient Americas, which was called originally Turtle Island. Turtle Island, yes. If you actually look at the United States, it's actually shaped like a turtle, looking from the top down of a turtle's shell, and looking at its head and tail and the other parts, it actually looks very much like a turtle. Furthermore, you guys would like to say that, oh, they drank water and they survived. They drank water and they ate fish. Let me ask you this: they're gonna drink seawater, salty seawater. They're gonna drink that. Within a few weeks, they'll be dead, if not a few days. You can't be drinking salty seawater like that. It needs to be ionized. You need to pull out all that salt and all that other stuff. Yo, guys, come on, man. You need to electrify the water and all that. It doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense. I'm telling you, man, it does not make any sense. I like to say and come up with the argument, oh, the slave ships have sunk. The Punic Wars, those ships that were in the Punic Wars, they found those. The ships that were in World War One, World War Two, they found those ships. They even found the Titanic. They have found ships that were dealing with going to other foreign lands. They got all these ships dealing with France and all these people doing colonialism. Those ships that were used for the use of colonialism, they found those as well. But you're telling me a bunch of gigantic so-called slave ships that are only to this now day only 400 years old. You're telling me you can't find ships that are only 400 to 300 years old in this time frame, when you can find ships from later time frames that are further back and beyond 400 years? What kind of nonsense is that? That makes no goddamn sense. So you guys are a bunch of fucking liars. Bunch of goddamn freaking liars, man. Another logical question would be this. What area in the United States of America was deforested, that they did deforestation in order to make all these damn gigantic boats that they claim to have millions and millions and millions and millions of slaves? Which area was deforested? Which area was deforested? Because you have to understand that this is a 400-year timeline going up, right? You gotta really understand, man. you really have to understand. If this is because in the 1920s, all those areas were filled with trees. What? Oh. Okay, so you gotta really understand. You know, this is 400 years ongoing, man. This is 400 years ongoing, man. This is 400 years ongoing, and you know, this shit is ridiculous, man. Like, hold on a sec. Sorry, I didn't mean 1920. I meant 1619, which is really 1620. 1620. That's the year in supposedly when slavery started. So if that's the year when slavery started in the 20s of the 1600s, in the 1620, what a gigantic amount of trees were deforested in order to create these damn boats, to lead up all the way to this time frame where we're all fucked up and shit and don't even understand the true history of the Americas and what the fuck really took place here. The funny thing is that some people would argue, the slaves, you know, they ate food and all this and that. But look, I already told you they didn't have any refrigeration until like what, the 1920s, around that time, right? They didn't have any, so they're gonna carry packed in fish, what plastics and stuff like that, with what salt, you know, they're gonna sprinkle salt on the fish. They're gonna bring live porks, you know, live pigs, to make pork and all this other stuff. They're gonna bring in rice and barley. They're gonna have to bring onions and chickens and rice and all these vegetables, seasonings, water, rum, all this stuff, all these provisions, all this stuff, first aid kits and all this stuff, because people won't get sick. You gotta bring oranges and tangerines and oranges and limes to prevent scurvy along the way. And they were saying that they were getting 300 slaves per boat ride. Per boat ride. This means there was multiple boat rides of coming from America to Africa multiple times. Multiple times. And they claim to have millions of slaves. And then some people would ask, you know, what about the food? Let me tell you about the food. Those foods were only provisions for the members that were on the boat driving supposedly from America to Africa. Let me explain something to you. What did the slaves eat? Because you're not gonna tell me they had provisions for what, 300, 600, 900, 1,000 Africans? They were going supposedly they were going weekly or every 2 weeks from America to Africa. How the hell is that possible? That's not possible. This is a multi-monthly boat ride, man. for just one set of Africans all the way from Africa to America. Do you see how none of this shit makes any damn sense? So now you understand that this is just nonsense. It's a lie to disenfranchise us from owning any land, from having any livestock, not owning nothing. This is why y'all failing out here. They made us look so bad with these films. See, now we even look at each other as we look at each other as not of worth. Why is that? This is serious mental problems that we're suffering from. Oh, now you want to get mad at the video and start bitching and complaining. Well, let me ask you this. They didn't have any line salt back then, any pine salt. Hell, they barely even discovered fucking a toilet paper to wipe their own asses. They didn't have any Comet, they didn't have any bleach, they didn't have any Tide to wash their clothes and all that stuff. They didn't have none of that. The sanitary concerns. What about the sanitary concerns? These people could barely wipe their own ass, and then you're telling me that they had all these provisions for these so-called 300 Africans that were on a slave ship with, what, 12 European dudes whipping them? How did they have all these provisions for 312 people? I'm waiting. It's a lie. It's all a lie, guys. It's a lie. You need to understand and wake the hell up. I'm trying with you. I'm trying with you guys. Do you understand? I'm trying. Don't make this more difficult than it has to be. Alright, now for you Moorish people. When y'all were in America and y'all were picking cotton, what happened? What happened is it's called sharecropping, not slavery. These people are liars, man. It's called sharecropping. Yeah, I did that for 362 years of freaking sharecropping, not slavery. And in some of these so-called slaves, quote unquote, because they're not. Some of these people had got certain provisions, and some of them got accommodations for good behavior and stuff like this. There was a lot of indentured servitude. There was a lot of indentured servitude going on in those time frames as well. And the reason why you guys were placed in this particular situation is because you were warned by your creator not to do this, and you did it anyway. So y'all were cast out. Y'all were cast out into foreign lands. They even told you in your little biblical books that you guys will be placed in a land in which you cannot understand. In a land in which you cannot understand, which is your Babylonia, or your Babylon, or Rome. This is Rome again. Rome will fall eventually. We're not going to stay in this situation forever. New things have to happen. New arc cycles keep showing up. And in every arc cycle, something new happens. So old dynasties fall. New ones rise. And this dynasty hasn't even been 1,000 years yet, and it's already about to fall, because it's the only reason why this dynasty has lasted as long as it's lasted for these stupid asshole bitch ass motherfuckers that are in power right now is because Negroid people keep creating things. That's the only reason why this thing has even lasted as long. They need Negroid people in order to have a sustainable society, because without Negroids you cannot have shit. The White House was built by them. Everything out here, agriculture, geography, geometry, the shapes of how to build shit, everything comes from us. We're the source. We're the root. Without the root, you can't build shit. Without a root, you can't have a plant. Without the seed, you can't have a plant. Without the soil, the dark melanated soil, you cannot have a plant. Understand? Caucasians needed us in order to build anything. They need us in order to survive. They need us for all these things, but we don't need them. And that's the difference. We don't. It's a fact. We created them out of making mistakes and stuff like that. So with that being said, I hope that this video was informative and it really shed some light on, you know, waking up and stuff like that. And because why we don't need them, because they're the albinoid version of what we are. So albinoids, they're not going to be able to keep reproducing for very long. Eventually they will die off. It's how it is. Negroids can't die off. They can't. They have the natural body type that was meant to be on this planet. So with that being said, this is Serious Center Temple out. Hopefully you enjoyed the ride. I'm tired. I'm gonna go get me some sleep.